And ain't nobody talking about that shit no more.
Yeah.
That shit did just go away.
It just went away. There was moving millions of dollars out of the market right before that shit hit. But ain't nobody talking about that shit no more. They just let them boys live. Ain't nobody all up in their face, knocking on their front door, asking them no questions.
Ain't no insider trading, nothing.
That shit gone all of a sudden. Like, I don't know, man. I ain't no real conspiracy theorist, but I ain't never really just believed in every damn thing that people be saying, bro.
Because with stuff like that, Price, you gotta think like, because I'm with you on that. Like, why are they talking about that? Because boys start moving that money, and I know some of that shit was illegal. So, if you moving money and that amount of money, you got an inside track on something.
That's how they do understood.
You getting a phone call like, "Hey man, better pull it now. These boys gonna shut it down."
I don't know, bro. I don't know, man. This shit'll make me hot talking about this shit too long.
That's a fact, man.
That's a real good thing right there, though, what you said, Al, as far as the shift, as far as the balance of power.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess the balance of power kind of topic is what I kind of wanted to touch on tonight, as far as us and our own families, presenting themselves in that balance of power equation. And to me, one of the best ways to do that is through basically the power of economics. You know what I'm saying? So, there's the power that you get from like military might and that sort of thing. Of course, none of us are in the Army, Navy, none of that stuff like that. But it's the power of money that gives you the flexibility to give you and your, the people that's coming behind you and your family more or less a leg up. Almost like the statement of almost like you're running your own individual race, but not just for yourself, but for the people coming behind you that'll share your last name. And I wanted to go ahead and start it off, of course, trying to keep it on theme with a quick little verse. And it's, of course, one of my favorites, especially Old Testaments of all time, which is Proverbs chapter 13, verse 22. And it says, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, but the wealth of a sinner is stored up for the righteous." And so starting off like that, I want to quickly tell my story as far as how I got passionate about personal finance, investments, doing that sort of thing. A couple of course, being real transparent, even some things I didn't do well, especially earlier in life, and even sometimes now. And then I just kind of want to, start a real open discussion on something that's really difficult to talk about for most, which is money. But I feel like the power of economics, it can really not only change your current life, but it can actually be a major influence on, like I said, the future generations behind you. And as that verse said, it's your children's children, trying to reach out to your grandkids, your great grandkids one day, even if you're no longer here. So I guess real quick, my story kind of starts when I was growing up. There was only two things I've ever felt like my parents really got into it about when I was growing up. And that was, basically on some discipline stuff from my pops, or it was something about money, some bill that wasn't paid or something we was behind on, or something they was going through as far as finances. And I guess my little brother's on the line. He can attest to us sitting upstairs in that game room area, listening to my mom and dad go at it. And it was something about those arguments where I always knew I never wanted to have those in my own household. From there, I had some brief touches on some entrepreneurial stuff. That boy Al probably remembers when he got the plug out of New York and we was moving Air Force Ones. Remember that, Al?
Yeah, I thought about it the other day.
So look, that was one of my first.
We copped them from Ron Artest, homeboy.
Al came out of New York with the plug, and boys moved, I think, 2 or 3 shipments of Air Force Ones before we do it, man. And but that experience, man, it meant a lot. Kind of got a little bit of those entrepreneurial juices flowing, and it was something about making a buck out of an idea more than an actual 9-to-5 job that really meant a lot to me. Then, of course, I ended up going to school, whatever. But somewhere in college, somebody mentioned a book I had never heard of called Rich Dad Poor Dad, which a lot of people have read. A lot of people that get it, especially real estate, it's one of the first books that they read. I heard about it then, and somebody else mentioned it, and I'm one of those people, once I hear it twice, feel like maybe the Lord is putting it in front of me for a reason. So I think coming out of college, I bought it, read it. Of course, it immediately had me hooked. And then, of course, I think, it was a group of us at the time, but we started our small investment club of Suburban Fundz probably in 06, 07. I don't know the exact year on it. Which then we were kind of, just talking about money, how we felt about it, some ideas that we had, some things that we wanted to do. Really kind of jump-started me, Price, and Sherm actually got together and founded SF Suburban Development back in 08, 09, and we started kind of buying real estate. And since then, just real casually, not even doing nothing crazy, we turned basically about 70 grand of cash in at first to about 300,000 or so in cash and assets. And that's just we probably have only gone through maybe, I'm gonna say maybe 5 or 6 closings total. And we got some big ideas on the, coming up pretty soon, but we've casually kind of really made well for ourselves and really learned a lot about the passive income world as far as on buying whole real estate. Some of the things that I haven't done well, I guess most of y'all know, I got Crohn's disease. I've spent a fortune on health stuff and probably could have done better for myself, eating a little bit better and that sort of thing. As a single man, I did what most single men do, went on too many hot dates, having a good old time. And I've definitely accrued a little bit of credit card debt off and on in my life, even now paying off some from the IVF and all that stuff from my son. And then purchases, one time, one of my worst purchases I ever thought in my life, I actually bought a brand new Ford Fusion car one time. I think that was probably back in like 2014. Definitely wasn't worth it. When we traded it in to get my wife's other car, we ended up taking about a $3,000 or $4,000 loss on that car. So definitely one of my worst overall big purchase decisions of my life. So definitely haven't been squeaky clean, even with the knowledge that I feel like I have. But it's just one of those things, and it's the perception of money is not just using it as something to go out and blow and acquire shit that you want, but things that using it as a tool, almost like a weapon to to guard against financial turmoil in your own howhousehold, but also to go out there and fight for you as well. So I kind of wanted to open it up right there after that brief introduction, trying to see that, how's anybody else as far as y'all's perception on money growing up and how you think it's changed, what kind of, I guess, more or less, what have you heard about it, read about it? What's kind of your favorite things about it? And, even if you haven't thought of it at all, just, more or less, and just kind of opening up the floor, see how anybody else feels about it.
Yeah, I think for me, man, I think it's been a learning experience. I think over the last several years, I've tried to do a lot better. I've learned a lot, especially right now, got my savings going. I'm not just overspending. I worked on my credit. My credit was more so within student loans, within a few things where it's just not staying on top of it, right? And some of it is really just simply calling those people and like, let's get to a point of something I can pay and just get it to a place where I'm consistent. Because one thing I've seen with credit, a lot of it is they just want to see consistency, right? Like so one thing is kind of like that credit part, right? Being just consistent on your payments, not having nothing outstanding, just like how you would do with a regular person. Your name gonna be better in the street if you borrow something and you paying back. Even if you, I ain't got it all, here you go, something that's gonna be better than just ignoring them, right? That's helped a lot. And then that helped me see my credit score go up to help me shift my mindset of like, now I feel better to say, I want to save more to spend now. Like I get more joy to say, oh, that's the extra 200 in the account than if I go buy a pair of shoes for 200, right? Like I feel better just being able to stack it, for long term, and then being in a position to do the things if something comes up. Hey, we trying to get in this, to have some money available, to have something available to to make action and use it as a weapon. Because I think we all want to use money as a weapon, but if it's not there for you, if you ain't prepared for it, then you're not gonna be able to get in that position. So I'll start to see that and just trying to do better. I think it's just a learning experience, man. I done bought cars off the lot, brand new. I was in 14 and 13, you know what I'm saying? Feeling good, full fresh off the lot. And I look back and I'm like, bro, I just looked at my invoice for it right now. It's paid off now, but I'm like, man, if I would have I could have went and bought a cat, I could have bought 13 Impala and would have been paid off 5 or 6 years ago. And it's probably still been running and could have been using that same money that I was using on car payments to put in my savings or put towards an investment. So I second that's like a lesson I had to learn. And then just in general, a lot, just like you talked about from an entrepreneurial standpoint, that's always been the mindset. But then there's also that economic discipline and like saving your money and being prepared to do that. Like, I think that the first part I understand. I love the fun, the joy of it, and just making something out of nothing. But I think you have to have both to be successful. You have to have like the economic discipline to save, to allocate, to put your mindset in this money. How can I use my money versus how can the money use me? And so that's something I've been learning. And then just looking out here at the different generational wealth is something I picked up. I just want to drop this, like a company like Hughes. I was looking, bro, the generational wealth in these older companies like that. Literally, the lady who is John Kerry's wife, who was married to the great grandson of the Hughes founder, is a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? Like off of Hughes money. So if you talking about the great grandson's ex-wife, and he's not even like the man, like, so just the amount of wealth. And that was 151 years ago. So 151 years later, the great grandson's ex-wife is worth $1 billion off of something that was established then. So like that's somebody, that's like the thinking of, okay, that's generational to me, you know what I mean? And like some stuff like that has kind of like sparked in even more interest of like, man, how can we do more to save? How can we do more to invest? How can I just, do a little bit more to help get my family, this is for my, how can I get myself, my family, my people, in position to do that? You know what I mean?
Well, I think that, like, Brian, appreciate you sharing that. You know what I mean? Because one thing that brothers don't do is, for some reason, we don't talk about real vulnerable things, and that's a real flaw in our community. Another real flaw in our community is comparison. Another flaw in our community is the one-up on material things that makes zero sense. So there's some lessons that I had to learn really quick, but pretty much, Brian, what both you and Al just said, and Al, I appreciate that too. Like what you just said, literally, it comes down to something that is very kind of a simple phrase. Like you live materially poor, but you're mentally and you're spiritually wealthy. You live mentally wealthy and spiritually wealthy, but materially poor. And it goes to a concept of like, okay, if you fast forward 40 years from now and you put yourself in your 70-year-old body, what would you tell yourself in your current body right now? What would you tell yourself in your past self when you was 15, 19, 20 years old that you learn now, right? Those are lessons that Al, Brian, all of us here, you just spoke about and you learned, right? So you learned that. So if you knew that knowledge right now, you would have went back and told yourself at 15 years old, 19 years old, not to make those mistakes. So that those mistakes don't compound in the future. You put yourself at 70 years old and you say, okay, if I'm 70 years old, what would I tell myself right now to do with my money? Right. What would I tell myself right now to do with my daily choices? And that's that live materially poor now, but spiritually and mentally wealthy. It's changing that that mindset, but also diving into the word and learning what the word tells you about wealth. Learning what the word tells you about, hey, having money is not a sin. It's making bad. It's doing bad with that responsibility. You know what I'm saying? Like,
not being a good steward of what you
absolutely. So and compounding that is by the choices that we make right now. And there's a really good. I told you, maybe I shared this last time. My favorite author on that type of topic is Dr. Joseph Murphy. He died in the 80s, but he's wrote a lot of books about mental mindset, you know, building wealth, but it's all about a mental part of your life that you start doing, you practice now. Like all those vision boards that you hear these crazy entrepreneurs doing now, they already seeing themselves with that wealth in their hand, and they already making that choice, making those decisions as if they had that wealth in their hand now. They see themselves already there. You know what I'm saying? They see themselves healthy. They see themselves being a good father. They see themselves being a good husband. You see what I'm saying? They see themselves being a good brother in this community that we are right now. If you can't mentally put yourself in their shoes, then how can you do that daily? So those are the things that, like, you got to start, like, as brothers, as Black men, we got to think outside the box and not look at the junk that's thrown in our community, right? The junk that's thrown in our community by these guys that we look at on TV, or the people that the media highlights as supposed to be the Black role models for our kids. That's bullshit. You know what I mean? We don't have to really accept those role models. We don't really have to accept that stuff that's already thrown in our culture. We can change the narrative for that. And so another thing, which I'm a huge believer on, is which is in the word, right? We're gonna stay on that topic. Is like, if I'm making $20 a month, and I'm still holding that and acting like it, and I'm holding that and acting like it's mine, then why can I think that God can trust me with more?
Exactly.
What I mean by that is start practicing on serving, practicing giving. You know what I mean? Like, see what it feels like. Because everybody in here, everybody in this damn chat room right now, you can't tell me a better feeling that you've ever had than once you've actually served somebody else or given to somebody else. Mm-hmm. You tell me a better feeling than that right there. It ain't making money. Yeah. Trust me. But anything that's business-oriented, anything that's given off of your hard-earned money, and you see somebody else that you can help, whether it is just giving them a t-shirt off your back, whether it is just giving them $1 to go buy a 99-cent cheeseburger, whatever it is, that right there makes you feel a certain way. And it's a reason why it makes you feel that way. Mm-hmm. It's a responsibility that was given to you with the blessing that we have. Yeah. So those simple practices like that, man, like before you know it, you'll start seeing these things fall into your life. And like I said, I mean, you can drive through my neighborhood right now. This dude's driving around here in old 1996 Toyota. I told Brian about my old mentor. He had a 96 Camry. Boy, pulled up that thing was golden and rough. Boy, hey, I'm like, man, that boy hopped out that thing with some old school denim jeans, old school flannel. This is my first mentor. That boy owned over 300 Subways. Jumped out of a 96 Camry. I'm at the damn thing with a Tahoe and some rims on it. You know what I mean? This boy pull up in the Camry. I'm like, damn, I need to chill. I need to change the way I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? This boy damn near killed himself if he had my money. You know what I mean? He'd think he broke. But looking at the way he lived you know what I'm saying? Looking at the way he lived his life was a great thing. So.
Well, yeah, just kind of segueing off of what Price said, is the mindset part is really the most important. And the way I grew up, man, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Shit, I got to be, in the same neighborhood with you guys growing up and shit. I wouldn't change that for, $1 million. But what I noticed with my own parents is, my mom had a master's degree, highly educated, good job, no problems. My dad had an associate degree, always was working. We always could pay bills, but it wasn't until my eyes were open once I started reading, diving, and also experiencing other things. And even Price, which I don't think I've ever actually said this, is even with Price getting to go to the NBA and all that, it wasn't going to the games and all that. That was actually the coolest experience that he allowed me to be involved with him. It was all those drives through those really nice neighborhoods all over the country. And I mean, we was in Orlando, in Salt Lake. We did it in Phoenix. Man, we've been everywhere driving through neighborhoods. And the one thing that we knew, which we would talk about when we was in the car, was not all these people were athletes. You know what I'm saying? It's not that many movie stars. It's not that many guys in the NBA doing it. These people are regular people that either grinded, were business owners, were investors, their grandfathers left it to them, their dads left it to them. Somebody made the sacrifices for these things for their families, for them to live like this. And that was one of the most eye-opening experiences as we were around the country. It was like, man, there's a lot of people doing other things. It could be, I mean, they could be sitting in the house day trade. You don't know what they doing, but all of these are not the things that we see in our culture on our TVs. When you're a young black man, shit, if you ain't got the right kind of jump shot, if you don't run a certain 40 time, you don't really hear it. You don't really see us making it like that. But man, there are some people that are doing really well, all not just our country, but really the world, which some of them I haven't even seen. But it was unimaginable to know that that it was more out there than what has been put. And it was an eye-opening experience when I started to dive into certain books, which I have a few books at the end that I would want, just kind of like how Ronnie mentioned Joseph Murphy, which he has an excellent series over just your mental mindset. But one of my favorite books of all time is The Millionaire Next Door, which when you look at the percentage of millionaires in the United States of America, the majority of them don't even have high-paying jobs. There were people that live slightly beneath their means that invested their money well. They weren't entrepreneurs, they weren't business owners, they were just regular everyday investors that spent their money wisely over an extended period of time. And were able to leave millions, not just to their family, but to their church, to other organizations, to help people, to do other things that they wanted to do, just because they made a conscious decision and were disciplined about it over an extended period of time. And over that mindset, once you can get that switch, if you have it or not, I kind of put some almost like a series, like a step-by-step, like something that my wife honestly taught me when we got married. I was always one really good with math in my head. I always had a pretty good paying job, has never been poor by the grace of God. But she actually had me sit down and actually pencil my true net. I'm talking about month by month, how many bills was going out compared to how much money was coming in. Actually adjusting everything, because I was like, shit, I got it to pay the bill, or I can pay this a day later, or I can do this. It was just in my head. She put it on a spreadsheet, and I was like, man. And it was almost eye-opening, and she was surprised that somebody like myself had never done that before. And I'm like, look, you won't know how many people in the world have never sat down and just really looked at their true net to figure out what they had coming in compared to what was automatic coming out. And so anyway, so I call that your cash flow. So with knowing what your true take home is. After that, you got to make sure and verify that all of your expenses are lower than that. So at that point, that gives you some flexibility to start to save appropriately, and then you'll be in the position to possibly be able to be in investing or doing something else that you might be passionate about. Then you got to set goals to pay down miscellaneous debts. And I'm talking about credit cards, school debt, vehicles, anything that's just random that you could get down. Some stuff in our lives are automatic. Your cell phone bill, your lights, water, gas, shit, your house note. Some of those are automatic. And if you can pay some of those off, that's great. But anything that you can get down, you want to get them down. But then here's the key. Once you know the mindset, had the understanding that there's more out there than just your traditional 9 to 5, you got to take a little time, do a little research on investments and those sorts of things so you can get a broad idea of what maybe you are comfortable with. Me, I've always been more comfortable with real estate because I can reach out and touch it. I can drive over there, touch the house, touch the grass, whatever. But if something else you're more comfortable with, then that's fine. But I mean, and I'm gonna give you a few podcasts, some other books and whatnot, but there are so many ways and so many opportunities that it will literally, like for instance, I'm gonna just briefly say real estate. In real estate, if you just a teacher, like for instance, I'm trying to convince my brother, which I think I got him on board this summer to get his own first property. But in that property, I want him to do what I call a house hack, or what they call a house hack, which is he might be buying a house, but I want him to really buy a duplex or a triplex where he has actually tenants helping him pay down the notes.
Yeah, yeah.
Where we're gonna force the equity in it because we're gonna come in and do some renovation. So the after repair value on the home is gonna be a lot more than what he actually ended up paying for it and what he paid for the construction costs. And after only 1 year of doing that off a FHA loan, he could refi out of that with a conventional note, and then he can move out, go do something, put another tenant in there, and that can be a rental property for him for the rest of his life if he wants. But it's those kind of things that I've just learned from the information that I've absorbed over time. But so you got house hack, birth strategies, you can buy and hold, you can flip, wholesale. There's so many things that you can do, even in the line of real estate. Some of those, including wholesaling, don't even take any money out of your own pocket, but it just takes a grind. And then when it comes to stocks and all that, man, it's so many ways to invest. But then after that, you still always got to leave, you got to leave yourself room and flexibility to have a good time. But then you just got to execute the plan. And as Al D that said earlier when he was talking about even on his credit stuff, you just have to be consistent. But so anyways, I definitely wanted to just hit those bullet points and know that number one, it's the mindset to understand that, look, it's not just education. It's not just your 9 to 5. And in the turmoil that you see right now in the world is the perfect time to know that you always really want to traditionally have at least one other income stream, even if it's a lot smaller than your primary. So you're never left at zero. You always want to figure out a way to have at least an emergency fund of a few months. And then as Warren Buffett might say, he's the greatest investor the world's ever seen as far as in modern times. You got to know how to be greedy when others are fearful. So when other people are scared of certain markets because you've done your research and you're comfortable with something, you want to take the right chances at the right times when other people are running away from them, because that's when they're the best value. And like I said, I won't get into too many details of that kind of stuff, but that's really what I really want to to present, is that you have to figure out a way to get a control of your monthly, so your cash flow is right. And then once you have that, you really want to find something investment wise that you're passionate about. Even if you're an entrepreneur, if you want to be a business owner, whatever it is, to have that additional. So then in times of opportunity, you're ready to pounce. And that's really what you want more than anything else. Because the opportunity, I had an old mentor when we first started. It was probably even a little bit after that, probably 2010, 2011. He used to always say, man, the future is always pregnant. And it is. So you might miss an opportunity today, but I guarantee you 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, maybe 2 years from now, it rolls all the way back around. And that'll be the one that the Lord will bless you with, and you'll be ready and prepared. So,
yeah, that's one of the things I always try to pick up is like, it's not about the, opportunities come a dime a dozen. It's who's prepared for that opportunity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's, to me, that's always been a key for sure. I like that point a lot.
Yeah. And my thing too, guys, is I personally believed just being going back to the word, is just being a good steward over your stuff. Because me personally, I was terrible at that. And I'll be open to be honest about it. Got a few bad car deals. Price can definitely tell y'all about that, And I just felt the need to get better at being a better steward of what God had already blessed me with. You know what I mean? So that's personally, even with jobs, not taking stuff for granted. And then over time, and then I thank God for my wife, because like Brian was saying, we every month every week we sit down and we have a breakdown play by play of every single nickel to the penny. I always know what's going on, what's going in. And over the past year and a half, 2 years, going on 2 years now, I have probably
Oh, we ain't lose her. That's that mic. Did we lose her for a second?
Yeah, I think we lost her for a second.
Wasn't giving any good info.
Yeah, sir.
Was getting that good info.
Yeah, he froze.
Yeah, we lost him, man.
Back in the
Yeah,
second.
yeah. I'll share some of the stuff with me. I think kind of touching on what Herb was talking about, man. Like, just my wife has actually helped me out a lot, man. We a couple of years ago we read a book, The Total Money Makeover. I forgot what's the guy's name, but he's like Christian based. And really it just got us in a mindset of like really trying to pay down our debt and ultimately live debt free when we don't owe anyone. And so we've been doing that for probably about 2 years. Like now I just have like one more like college loan that I should have been and paid off, but that's pretty much it. Don't have any credit card debt, and was able to save a significant amount of my money. But I guess my pitfall or downfall is like knowing where to put my money in terms of like investing. So it's like I have a portion of it to be able to set aside to invest, but it's about being able to have the confidence and then also have the knowledge. You know, so I mean, ultimately, like I'm thankful for being able to just have the wherewithal to be able to, pay down that debt. I don't, get to a point where I don't owe anyone and just want to keep on building on that, and then using the wealth that I'm able to create to be able to use that portion of money to invest and make sure that we're financially secure.
But Dean, that brings up another topic. I mean, sitting in my living room, I see Al just sent over them that old mission statement. But the whole purpose of Suburban Fundz was to be able to have Herb. You cut out, dog. You're gonna have to.
Yeah, I see how that devil get busy, man.
Yeah.
Straight up.
But I'll let you finish up, Herb. But sitting in that living room, the whole vision of Suburban Fundz has been to set up a structure to where everyone in here in our neighborhood and even others have an opportunity to be a part of something where we're investing and making money together, no matter what the structure looks like. And Brian can tell you right now, definitely are in the position and in the works right now, trying to set up that structure with Suburban Fundz to where people can come in, say if we see something that makes sense, and we're like, hey, go hit him. He got some extra funds. Well, we present the deal to you. If it's something that, makes sense for your family's portfolio and you got some extra, and it ain't, taken out of your pocket, you see what I mean? And hopefully that structure is, if God willing, man, that's the structure that works out to where, we even more of us are side by side and making money together. That's the whole purpose of it. And Al can tell you, without getting too far, like when we talk, I talk to Al, I talk to Nick damn near, often. And every conversation that we have is figuring out a way to bring our community together. Am I lying, Al?
Yeah, this is a fact. I mean, that's some of those that conversation led to this.
You know what I mean? So like that's why this is how this originated. Just so everyone in the group knows, is being able to have these conversations, be vulnerable. If I come in here and I need some help with something, or I got questions how to raise my son if I feel like I'm failing, You know what I mean? And I can get some insight from others. I don't want to have to go out and talk to nobody else that don't know how I, don't know where I came from, don't know the cloth that I'm covering.
Yeah.
I want somebody that can shoot it to me straight. It goes with everything. If there's any questions that anybody else have, I hope y'all feel comfortable asking any of us in here. You know what I mean? Like, this is a time to where, this is a blessing in disguise, dog. Like, I never thought a year ago we would be on this screen talking about something like this. This shit really makes me excited. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
the type of stuff of how you grow, how we all grow, and having different opinions and outlooks on all topics is how you grow. So I love this, though.
I was gonna say, man, it made me think about my cousin and her husband recently moved out here to New York, and they were waiting for their apartment to come available, and they were staying in a hotel, so they ended up getting kicked out of their hotel. She hit me up and was asking if they can come stay with us for like, it was like maybe 10 to 12 days, and I was like, sure, no problem. So, every night we would talk, like all four of us would just talk, and her husband is a developer. Like, so he just got a new job as a construction developer, and he, ultimately he was just talking about like how in order for us to be able to really be successful, like us as a Black people, we have to start coming together and being comfortable with working with one another and understanding, like, man, a lot of the time these people that have made it to a point where they're making globs of money, they didn't do it on their own, and understanding like we have to, in order for us to be able to be successful in doing whatever we do, is best to do it together. And you do it together, you're able to, like what Price was talking about, like being able to lean on each other, ask for advice and ideas, and be able to use that to help make the group stronger.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. To me, wealth is definitely a team sport. It's kind of funny. Shoot, I know I had led off on it as far as talking about what my wife on the month-to-month spreadsheet deal, and then her and Dean talked about y'all stuff. But shit, for anybody on here that's single, shit, you won't be wealthy with the wrong wife. So that's number one. Hey, let me tell you like this. Let me shoot that straight. Right. You still, man, you're much better with a community of guys and people that not just agree with you, man, but they're supportive. They'll give you some insight, and they have something to bring to the table. Man, because that right there is the most amazing part about the groups, and that's kind of what the initial thought process, even before we knew what it really was back when we tried to put our group together years and years ago, is that, man, we just really wanted to have a space that we could bounce things off, and whether people wanted to be in or not on the real money side, you really wanted them to be there for you, because it's nothing like being in the that actually leads me to my quote I had here at the bottom here, because once again, coming out of Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20, it says, when you walk with the wise, you become wise. Associate with fools, you'll get yourself. So, yeah, so it's one of those things, man. You just really want to be around the same, people that have a similar vibe, but that are going to push you to continue to move forward. And man, just like it, for instance, Dean, seems like you and your wife got a good thing going as far as paying down debt. Man, if you don't have debt, man, it can go a long way. One of my favorite podcasts, or really I have 3 or 4 of them I'm gonna mention real quick. I downloaded the SoundCloud app to my phone. If you have Apple, y'all probably don't need that. But it's the Todd Millionaire podcast. It's a Black guy. I think he's out of California. He puts on Black entrepreneurs on all kind of spaces. Sometimes it's real estate. A lot of times it's other things. But it'll really get you comfortable in the space that you'll see that there's a bunch of people out there that really look like us, doing some really impactful things and really making a difference, not only in their communities, but for their family for generations to come. Also, Bigger Pockets is one of the biggest real estate podcasts out there. They basically cover any topic that you could ever dream of as a real estate. If you want to be a developer, construction guy, or just a straight investor, man, they cover. There's nothing that you won't learn on Bigger Pockets. At least to know all the concepts, all the strategies that other people have used, and you'll see it's not as complex as you would think. There's also I have Spotify, which normally people use it for music. I found podcasts on there as well. There's one called The Millennial Real Estate Investor. That one right there will blow your mind, especially if you're really interested in real estate, because all the people on there are like less than 32, 33 years old. And man, they jump on there and you hear some moves that they're making, and they have some really good ideas, real creative. But those are a few of the ones that are, I guess, the most impactful. Also got this one, it's called By the Hood. Man, I'm talking about, I feel like these some people, man, straight up from, I'm talking about, they probably be from M10 or somewhere, man. And they putting people on, talking, and I'm talking, they sound like some niggas on the line, straight up. Black entrepreneurs on there, man, and they really talking. They buying 18-wheeler trucks, man. They doing style game, man. They on all kind of stuff, man. But they're pretty entertaining too. And those are a little short. They about 30 minutes each time, man. But so, anyways, but those are some of the ways that I try to me personally pick up information. Just so you know, and maybe you guys have, because I don't want us to be too long. I guess we're coming on 55 minutes now. Some of my own personal long-term goals. I really want me and my wife to be at a point where we're financially free. There's a movement, you could probably Google it. It's called the FIRE movement. That means financially independent, retired early is what FIRE means. But I would like us to be financially independent, where we can basically work when we want to within the next 7 to 9 years. The Lord says the same. And also one of my lifetime goals before I leave this earth, where I do life insurance or assets, I've always wanted to leave a sizable educational fund that will pay for not my kids, but my grandkids' way through school or whatever they might want to go to. And then their children, I want to see how many generations it can touch. If I can get to 5 generations, I feel like I really won.
Straight up, yeah.
Where it pays for their school, they ain't never got to worry about, shooting a goddamn 3-pointer or tackling somebody. They know they school is to at least give them that leg up on the education side. So anyways, but so, I definitely want maybe the next time we get on, if anybody else got their real lifetime financial goals, because you want to get the stuff done on a month to month, week by week, but you also always want to know where you're going. It's nothing like where you know where the finish line is, man. And but shoot, like I said, I don't want to keep everybody for too long, but it's one of my favorite things. Shit, I was on the phone. Ronnie, how long we on the phone with? I was on the phone with Price for an hour talking about stuff.
We can't go nowhere, so I guess we're all right.
Real quick, I found this and I sent it in the text, but I just wanted to kind of, because I thought it'd be really fitting to kind of end what you just said, because this came from when we sat down and like the first note that when you start bringing up this, like you said, I can't remember if it's 2006 or 7, but it was over 10 years ago, and it was a Genesis, and it was 6 points for the Declaration of Financial Empowerment. 1, to use home ownership to build wealth. 2, to save and invest 10 to 15% of my after-tax income. 3, commit to a program of retirement planning and investing. 4, to engage in sound budgeting, credit, and tax management practices. 5, to measure my personal wealth by net worth, not income. And 6, be proactive and knowledgeable about investing, money management, and consumer issues. You know what I mean? Like, I think those are critical points. And it also shows where I feel like, because this was written out and this was listed, I think that helped us having that in our mind, and even from you, like really living through that. You know what I mean? Like, sticking through that and seeing you down the line, you know, to continue seeing you move in that direction and continue seeing you speak about that. Even for me, that makes me say, we know we committed to this. You know what I'm saying? And like, and I feel like I subconsciously in my head, like, whether there's mistakes that were made along the way, there was always times when I was like, I remember we had SF funds. Let me make sure I'm trying to invest. Let me save. Let me think about home ownership. So a lot of times, like you said, documenting these things, speaking them out, looking at it, you know, envisioning, having that vision, man, goes a very long way. And I appreciate this. You know what I mean? Like, great.
Hey, everything y'all talk about today, I need to hear it, bro. Every single thing. Like, I was scared to invest. Like, I was bad with money, you know what I'm saying? I'm just not getting into mutual funds and things like that. But like I say, man, if you hear something out the mouth of two witnesses, man, let his word be established. So God been showing me people in my life I need to connect with, but I was too afraid to, like, man, what if I lose? It ain't what if you lose, bro. You gotta take a chance. Like you said, get the knowledge, know what you're doing, then acquire it. Don't just jump out there not knowing what you're doing. See how to work your money. So like I say, y'all come up with opportunities, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking to you, Brian, talking to you, Ronnie. Albert, y'all got something, you know, I can invest in, let me know, bro, because I've been knowing y'all for a minute. Just hearing y'all, I know it's real. So, you know what I'm saying? Whatever y'all got, man, I'm down with it. I'm about that generational wealth, man. I want my sons to be good, man. That's my whole thing. Forgive me, I'm straight. When I leave, I want them to be set and have the knowledge. I want them to teach them too how to handle money and let them actually see me work it out. You know what I'm saying? So they can do it like I do it. Repeat it and don't delete it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
I'm down with y'all, brothers, man.
For what Brian said about Brett, that's dope, man. Like, hey, we all down together. We all in this thing together, man. So
straight up.
Like, we gonna have. I hope this group ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? Coronavirus or not, I hope this is something that stays consistent.
Yeah, definitely.
We should.
I definitely and Price, I'm halfway through that subconscious mind. So
yes, sir.
Right there, man.
Because look, what Al said, look, this is the truth, man. And I wouldn't say this if my life wasn't a testament of it. And I'm only saying this is, you know, I used to talk. I told Brian, I see Brian Youngin over there, man. That shit make my heart happy, boy.
Me too.
All right.
But
that.
you think it, dog. Like, if you have something, like, ain't nothing outside of the box, dog. You think it, and you write it down. It's some power about writing down your
making
thoughts.
a plan.
It's something powerful about writing down your vision, and it's something powerful about waking up in the morning. My wife think I'm crazy, but waking up in the morning and reading things that you wrote. And sometimes the first time you write it, it ain't gonna be, you know, shoot, 2 months later, you go back and you start editing that thing because, you know, your eyes get open a little bit. Oh, okay. Well, I got a seed now. So now what I wrote when I was single, it don't match, you know, now that I got a family, it don't match it. You know, you change it up. But for the kids' education thing, 529 plan. Get your 529 plan. You could put $5 in that thing a month. Just do it. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter how you do it. Set it up, and before you know it, it'll be invested in the market. It's safe and all that stuff. But you ain't doing the investments. You just putting the money in the plan.
Yeah.
And it's tax free. Your kids can pull it out. They can use it for anything when it comes towards education. And just because so for instance, we got a 529 plan for my daughter, but if she don't use it, say my daughter, you know, by the grace of God, gets some type of educational scholarship, well, that money can be transferred down to her kids or my son. You can move it around and allocate it however you want to allocate it.
Yeah.
So start researching the 529 plans, and you can start putting money in there right now. It don't matter if you got kids or not. You can just start setting it up. It can go towards a nephew. It can go towards a, you know, it can go anywhere you want it to go. It's a lot of flexibility in those 529 plans.
Yeah.
So anyway.
So what should we be doing this week in order to prepare for next Tuesday?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, like as far as financially, what you talking about?
No, I'm just saying, and to keep the dialogue going, like.
Okay, I got you. So next week, I like the topic. So the topic is, you know, I told Brian today, it's based really off of 3 F's, the 3 powerful F's, which is family, faith, and finances. You know what I'm saying? So faith could be spirituality. I don't care. Look, all y'all can have different belief systems. The mind, it don't matter. Whatever it is, we can talk about spirituality on any level. It's an open conversation. We could talk about finances on any level. We could talk about family on any level. And then once we get to that, we could talk about that man in the mirror. Because all this stuff is good. Everything is great. But on the next level topic, we gotta address the man in the mirror. You can make all the money in the world. You can do everything great in the world. You can have everything from outside that everybody wants. But if you're not okay with the man in the mirror, don't none of that shit matter. So we can talk about that too. You know what I mean? So it's an open conversation, dog.
Do we want to pick? Do anybody want to volunteer for next week to speak on something? Or
You said the man in the mirror price?
was that? I'm trying to see if somebody has said they were speaking next week. Was that Herb? Was that?
Yeah,
Who was it?
You say Herb?
Oh, man.
What up, man?
What up, little man?
What's up?
Hey, Herb, you want to do some kind of family base? You want to leave some family?
I was gonna say I'm gonna talk about this family dynamic.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's do that, man. I'm gonna pass the baton to you, and then next week, let's kind of, like we said, faith, family, and finance. I think that those are important pillars here in our group, right? Like, I think kind of keeping it around, and if you want to kick off that family, man, I think that'll be awesome.
That's dope. I'm down for it.
Yes, sir.
Love y'all, brothers, man. Seriously, love y'all to the soul, dog. For real.
Love y'all too,
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all.
Let's keep it going.
Y'all have a good week, man.
All
You
right,
too,
man.
brother.
All right.
Do the same. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.